Honestly, guys, I'm not gonna lie, I like playing FEDIEL, but I'm just tired of throwing balls all day. So recently, I've been actually playing her a lot with just claws, and Miasmic Abyss. I find that a lot more fun. But in terms of DPS, of course, you're not gonna be the ball throwing build, and it is a lot more situational. It requires the boss or any enemy to stay in one place for a long amount of times. The highest damage output you're gonna see is probably during SBA chains or during link time, but I don't know. I just find it a lot more satisfying for some reason. So this I've been working with. This is just a little thing I've been working with these days, and yeah, it's pretty fun. It's a different way to playing, so you guys should try it too. In terms of gear, I am using the Ascension weapon, and you can go with Terminus weapon as well, but that would be a little bit of a different setup. But in terms of Ascension weapon, I think it works well. It gives me the tankiness so that, I mean, I just want to stand there and just claw people down, and while I'm watching YouTube on the side. So it's a lot more relaxing in comparison to limiting your HP. So you can see that there's no awakening or the job specific sigils because you're not really doing any ball throwing. You're not really going into the voice stab or the charge voice stab or any of the stomps. You basically just want to claw as many times as you want. The good thing about dodging is that dodge doesn't really interrupt claws, at least not on the first dodge. So you can claw, dodge, and claw again. There are instances where I think sometimes I find that you can dodge twice while the claw is still in effect. But I think the safest is probably just claw, dodge, and claw. I think that's the safest. It helps you reposition because when you cast in Miasmic Abyss, it kind of pushes you back a little bit. So there are instances that we're getting like further and further away from the boss. You might need to do a little bit of repositioning towards the dodger, or the boss might just move just a little bit to the left, move a bit to the right, and you just need that little bit of repositioning. And the good thing about it seems like the window is pretty good, even during your last dodge where you're going to the exhaust stance. You can still claw right after that, so it's actually pretty helpful. So right now, this is what I've been working with. Nearly 400k HP. It's a bit too much. You actually don't need it, but again, it just means that I don't have to worry about getting hit at all. And just to look at this, of course, I'm running my Celestial Lumen on my summons, and if you want to max out your damage cap. Combo booster just there to help reaching damage cap. I find this useful. I kind of wish that I'm not sure if it's possible or not, but I kind of wish that you can see the damage cap percentage during actual missions as well. And right now, I think you only see it during training, but if you can do it during actual mission, that would be extremely more helpful. Supplemental damage, try to max it out as much as possible. Of course, you got Berserker Echo and Spartan Echo. Fate Breakers there as well, same as War Elemental. And some regen and some drain because of high HP and the constant ticking damage. You actually heal relatively nicely. I think the most important thing about this is actually the quick cooldowns. The quick cooldown and the cascade. I wish I have a little bit more in quick cooldown. You kind of wanted to get it as high as possible. You can probably swap out some, I guess. You can probably swap up something just to have it more. Maybe switching up the uplift for another cooldown, or maybe you want to get rid of some of the more defensive ones for quick cooldown. For example, you can probably get rid of maybe Garrison or maybe Stronghold for another set of quick cooldowns. But you can play around with yourself. So I think it's good. I think you'll find the sweet spot, but you want to lower this as much as possible because you want to spam skills. The key here is to spam as much miasma base as possible. That's where the majority of damage coming from, especially during link time, because each stack of the pool damage actually ticks individually. So it's good to just keep spamming this. You have uplift, it helps with SBA gains, and you are relatively on par with bow throwing. Maybe it's a FEDIEL herself, but she gains SBA relatively fast. Aegis and Greater Aegis should maximize HP here. Garrison just provide a little bit of tankiness, same as Stronghold. Steel Nerve for the damage reduction, and Improved Dodge actually is really comfortable, especially helping with the perfect dodges. And Stealth Heart, if I can get a summon, that would be the best, so that I can switch out the Sigil, and that is pretty much it. In terms of skills, you go for anything that can trigger claws. Most important one is your Miasmic Abyss. This is where the majority of damage coming from. And Sign of Calamity help you gap close. This is against some of the relatively more mobile enemies. There are a few that's really annoying. I find this the world is okay. Beelzebub actually stays in a single place. I think Proto Bahamut is pretty good. Behemoth is the one that having the most issue with this, because he's the one that actually probably moved the most. But thankfully he's not any of the more endgame bosses. I haven't tried this on Lucilius yet, but I'm assuming that, well, against Lucilia you probably don't want to go like this, just straight up tanking damage. And you want to avoid as much as possible, so using a Terminus weapon might be more helpful, since you're gonna be dodging anyway. And you have, so this is your gap closer, just so that when anyone just like moving away, you want to chase after them, which is really helpful. Prometheus Sphere, another thing that goes into Miasma Hand, and Petrify also increase your damage against them for a brief moment, and also help them stay in place. I think bosses have a bit of a reduced timer on this, especially during certain phases. So, but anything that helps, and of course the blessing for the attack up and defense up, and this one's actually a good gap closure too, because after Stomp you can go into the Black Void, so you can chase after them as well. And yeah, and a lot of follow-ups, you just wanted to chase after them. A lot of times, I know it's a little bit of a difficult, you might think that's annoying because you constantly have to chase after them instead of just throwing balls at a range. So, but it's a different type of playstyle nonetheless. And for summons, I went for Celestial Lumen, War Elemental here, Spartan Echo, and another stack of quick cooldown. You want to go with a skill damage cap up as the equip bonus if you can. If you're not reaching damage cap, you're probably gonna go with some skill damage up. I'm not entirely sure on the calculations, but you can play around with the numbers. For certain, I think I'm able to hit cap inside actual missions with my friends when we have decent buffs, when we have party buffs as well. So you can probably go with a more damage cap if you like. And for mastery traits, you are going all the way for Corrosive Black, going for as much cooldown reduction as possible. I tried using this one, at least in the training room, it doesn't feel like there's so much of a difference. So I didn't use this one. If this makes a big difference in terms of cooldowns, then I'll probably use this. You do have a bit of a black flash when you're using your buffs, but I don't really see that much of a difference. So I went for the duration, more for cap, more cooldown reduction, this duration at max HP, and of course in perk 3 you go for more caps, as much cap as possible, attacks. And for the last one, you go for more buffs and more cap. I think the most important thing, just as much cap as possible. And yeah, there you go. And I really like this one. The mirror image. That's why this helps survivability by a ton, especially with lower cooldowns. This even makes ball throwing extremely tanky, or at least extremely survivable. And for the last one, we have just a little more damage cap and attacks. That's it. And you can see that there is almost no survivability. Besides the tankiness you provided, there's no auto revive. There is no potion. There is no guts. So you're basically relying on your own tankiness to survive after all. Against Lucilius, you probably want to switch out. Against Lucilius, you probably wanted to switch out maybe Improved Dodge, and for Potent Green just to recover from the HP seal, or any with the SBA seal or Skill seal. So that's an option you can have. I believe during claws you have a little bit of damage reduction, but don't quote me on that. So test it yourself. As for a more DPS heavy, you want to go with a terminus weapon, this is probably something I will go with. You most likely want almost the same thing, but you want to maximize your basic sigils as much as possible, just to reach that sweet spot of damage cap. Celestial Lumen still there, and you adding in Celestial Terra for damage cap, and also to limit your max HP by 30%, so that you can stay within the 200k range requirement. Combo booster is still there. This one can be a little bit of flexing, and whether you can hit damage cap with this or without this, up to you. And supplement damage a little bit, and everything else basically stays the same. A little more regen, a little Spark the same quick cooldown, and Cascade the same thing. Uplift is are from my Rhinestones, but you do want a little bit of uplift just to keep up with some of the other characters. Nimble Onslaught help with improve dodge. Actually, I do like the iframe on it. Greater Aegis, Garrison, Steel Nerve, Improved Dodge, all these are your survival abilities. I think having Greater Aegis on its own, it's enough to have the HP requirement. You'll probably have a little bit more, but I think this is a good enough. And in terms of other way of surviving, I'm adding in a little bit of auto revive and also potion hoarder just to recover from HPs. And of course, Stelhar is still there. And yeah, if you want to go for a little bit, just a little bit more DPS-y heavy, then you can try this one out. But I don't really enjoy this one quite as much, because you have to play a little bit, you have to have a little bit more hands on this. So I'd rather be a little bit tankier.
措置に安寧の闇を与えようぜ。闇の中全ては孤独に終わる。カースドステークスシュシュシュヒューマンの娘本気で行くわ。ミアズマホール
俺も続こう。
闇に溶けよ。ひらめけケイオスタイド。いやこれ集中を書いている場合ではないぞ。面白くなりそうではないか。カースドステークス。闇に溶けよ天使長。
空のために。
容赦はしないわ。ひらめけケイオスサイド。
少なくとも俺にとっては。
コラダが来たぞよ。瞬烈の一撃で数その場で無対する終末の執行者だ。
キスが っていくぞ。バハムートオルタ。行くぞ。
声来た。闇に溶けよ。そちに安寧の闇を与えようぞ。カースドステークス。手を貸しておれ天使長。
空のために。フェディエル。
闇をもたらされ